Hello everyone. Today I am coming at you with a figure review for several Jazzwares Halo figures. I have had them for several years. I do not have the packaging for any of them anymore, but we do have two versions of the Halo Infinite Master Chief, Cat, and a generic Reach Spartan. So I'm going to start off with the generic Reach Spartan, work towards Cat, and then do the other two Chiefs. So I'm going to set these three figures off to the side for just a few moments till we get to them. And these figures are several years old. I've had all of them since, I think they came out in 2018, I believe. I'm not totally sure when they released. Well, not 2018. Halo Infinite only came out in 2021, I believe. So these figures aren't super old, but I have had them for a good few years now. So I don't really remember what this Spartan was called on his packaging. He's basically just a white version of Noble 6. And sculpt-wise, paint-wise, he looks pretty alright. The visor is really nice in that chrome sort of reflective material, and it looks really, really cool. The sculpt, the paint, is pretty minimal. These were each 20 bucks a pop, so they're relatively cheap figures, but they're pretty okay. This guy has some issues being as old as he is, and he doesn't want to stand up. This figure has a few issues, given that he's pretty old for me. Some of his joints have loosened up quite a lot. His arm is pretty floppy. You see that? Yeah, it's really loose. Both arms are pretty floppy and loose and don't really want to hold their pose very well. But sculpt-wise, paint-wise, he looks pretty alright. I do dig the mixture of white and blue and black, aesthetically speaking. It looks good. And in his hand you can see the plasma pistol, which looks pretty alright. Has some blue detailing inside of where I guess it's a magazine. The purple paint is good, the sculpt is nice on it. It has a peg hole on the left side of it. I had to genuinely check there. But it looks pretty cool. The plasma pistol is neat, and it just looks pretty sick, honestly. I'm going to move my light just to, get some better-ish lighting on this dude. But he looks pretty fine. I love the reflective visor. But the plasma pistol looks pretty good. You can see that blue paint on the magwell, or the magazine. I don't really know if it's a magazine. I haven't played Halo in a minute. But it looks cool. I don't remember if this is the only gun he came with. But I think I have a Magnum pistol. Actually, let me look for that pistol. Give me just a minute. I am so fucking sorry. Oh boy. I know I have the Magnum somewhere in my dresser down here. Found it! Found it. I found the Magnum pistol. Alright, we ball. Now, I'm gonna get to the accessories in a minute. Fuck. I'm gonna get to accessories, I want to say last, because I have 4 dudes here to go with. So, sculpt and paint, they're all pretty good. They're cheap, but they're good. Now, onto articulation for this guy. His head can rock a little bit, can rotate side to side just fine. He can look up a very small amount and down just a little bit. Not a ton at the head, but functionally it's enough. The midsection has basically nothing. A slight rock, very minimal arcing back, and basically no ab crunch. The arms technically have a butterfly joint, but it does not really do anything worth a damn. The arms can go out horizontal, or close to horizontal. He has a bicep rotation as well as a shoulder rotation. So the bicep can rotate independently from the shoulder, but more than likely the shoulder's going to go with it. Double jointed elbow, can get that deep of a bend, straight out, and he has wrist rotation as well as back and forth at the wrist. Both hands are the same. He came with several hands, but I'll get to those in just a moment. The thighs can rotate a little bit, not a ton to matter, but they do work. Forward kick is very minimal, and back kick non-existent. The knees do not have rotation or anything, and his knees are able to go pretty much perpendicular. The knee joint is ugly as hell, but it compromises for the budget. The feet, the ankles can go back that far and forward that far, has a toe bend, has a rock to it, and that's pretty much it for him. He's pretty simple, but not bad. Now, I believe he came with the plasma pistol and the commando rifle. I'm not sure if this is right. I don't remember exactly what was right, but I'm pretty certain he came with the plasma pistol and the commando rifle. Now, for the hands of his that I do actually still have, I don't know if this is all of them, but, you know, these are the ones I got. He comes with a flat left hand and a relaxed left hand as well, which looks pretty cool. And then he has a right fist and a right relaxed hand as well. Dropped it. And a right side relaxed hand. And you can see his trigger finger hand on his right arm. And, oh, that's right. This was also a trigger finger hand, but I glued it so it could be a gripping hand. Okay. I don't remember why I did that, but I did it. But, so these are both technically trigger finger hands. I just glued this finger in place. So I effectively only have one trigger finger hand for this dude. But overall, that stuff's pretty alright. I'm going to get this stuff out of the way for just a moment so we can move on to Cat. So, moving on to Cat now. This is Cat, one of the main characters of Halo Reach. She came with the Spartan laser and the Magnum. I keep bumping my phone. And the Magnum as well. The Spartan laser is pretty big and bulky, and she can't hold it super well unless she's holding it by the foregrip up here in front. I'm going to get to guns and all that later on. But Cat looks really, really good. Her sculpt is nice. Her colors are really nice. That blue is honestly pretty sick. She even has the UNSC logo on the shoulder strap of her armor. Some red lights on the knee pads. And her prosthetic arm is honestly really well done. It looks really, really nice in my opinion. I like it. Her back is pretty simple. She has a big dumpy. Big ass. Does that peg not come out? I could have sworn these pegs came out on the backs. I guess not. But sculpt-wise, paint-wise, she's pretty good. Has a pouch on her left leg. And she just looks pretty good, honestly. I really do dig her sculpt and paint work for as cheap as it is. And she has a unhelmeted head, which looks pretty alright. Not amazing or fantastic, but acceptable. But she does also include her helmet, which, you know, reflective visor looks great. The blue is nice. The black. Jesus. The little, I don't know what this would be, a flashlight on the side of her helmet. It looks cool. But you just simply pop the head off and pop the helmet on. If it wants to give me a moment. Damn. And you just pop the helmet on, and it has pretty good movement. So the head can rock, look up, look down, turn side to side, of course, simple. The prosthetic arm can go out pretty high, better than horizontal. It does feature a rotation at the elbow. The elbow can go basically just a straight 90, with the wrist being the same as the white Spartan. You know, rotation, bend in and out, all that. The hands are relatively soft plastic for all of them. Left arm is the exact same, except for the elbow rotation. That is a bicep rotation instead. So, you know, they're both effectively the same. Midsection, again, practically nothing, except for a little bit of wiggle room. Thighs and legs, again, basically the same thing as the white Spartan. Thigh rotation. Knee is pretty good. It looks ugly as shit, but is very functional. And her feet... fuck. Okay, I did not want to do that. The toe has basically no up because of the ankle guard sculpt, but it does have some down movement to it. Ankles can rock, kick up very slightly, and kick back pretty far. She's not... Motherfucker. God. Okay. She's not perfect, but she's okay. Serviceable for $20. Now, all of these figures do have a gimmick going on with them, and that is on the thighs, you can pop out this little piece of armor here, turn it around, and flip it with a peg, and that is basically a holster sort of deal to give them a way to hold their weapons on their body. And it works decently well. Not amazing, but it is pretty functional in my opinion. Okay. These figures are not as good as I remember them being. I just found them. So, ooga booga. Does that really not want to go in? Dude. Lined up. There we go. Alright. Cat's pretty okay. I do really, really appreciate how good she looks. The sculpt is nice. The prosthetic arm is surprisingly well done. But, you know... Oh, right, her hands. Fuck, almost forgot. She comes with a right fist, a left relaxed hand, so splayed open fingers, and a left double finger pointing hand, which is also open with her ring finger and pinky, so she can probably hold something in this, but I doubt it because of the her middle and index finger being up like that. But those are the hands she includes that I at least own still or know of off the top of my head. But Cat's pretty good. I really do like how she looks. She looks pretty cool. And okay, now this is the first Halo Master Chief figure I had. This is also Jazzwares, of course. All of these are. And I fucked with him a little bit. I glued the assault rifle into his hand because he couldn't hold it worth a fuck at all. So, you know, that is just permanently attached to his hand. And I glued this trigger finger hand for his left side together so it was more of a gripping hand. Don't ask why I did this. This was years ago. I don't remember. But, you know, And the right shoulder pad is broken off. I do have it. It's right here. But the left one is fine. And articulation for all of these is effectively the same for the most part. Basically no midsection. Head on Chief is limited with Rock. No up. A little bit of down. Arms, you know, out to the side. Rotation at the bicep. Elbow. All that, they're pretty much the same in terms of articulation unless it's required to be different. Thighs in and out a little bit. Knee. Again, the same. They're all the same joint with that same gimmick for his thigh panels on both sides. So right and left can both do this. So it can come out, flip around, have a holster. Just peg it back in there. And it's on there. Now, Chief, will you stand in that really shitty pose? Yes, you will. I don't remember which of these hands were specifically for this Chief and the other one, but I only have a couple of them. I don't really know which Chief these 4 hands belong to, if any in specific, but there are 2 fists and 2 splayed hands there. They all look pretty good. And they all share the same joint for the wrist, up and down peg. And you know, they're all effectively the same in terms of articulation. I do like the shiny visor, it's pretty sick. I believe he came with the assault rifle, and I believe one of these commando rifles. I have 2 of them for some reason. But, you know, moving on to the other Chief I have, I do not recall which version this is supposed to be. It's Halo Infinite Chief, clearly, but I don't know what the difference between them is besides sculpt or paint job being different. This one's more dirtied up and much darker in color overall. Like, the top of his helmet has some silver dry brushing that is very heavy-handed. The chest has very, very heavy silver dry brushing, and so do the biceps, forearms, shoulders, legs. Very dirty looking in a good way. Like he was messed up in a fight. Unfortunately, this one's visor is not glossy or shiny. It's shiny, but like reflective chrome, not really. It's basically just shiny paint. Nothing special. So, like, you can see the difference there. Like, this Chief's visor is much more reflective and shiny, whereas this one's is more dull. It's not even the same material. But, I actually like this one the most, I think. He's pretty okay. You can see him holding the other commando rifle I got. I have 2 of them. I'm not even going to go over articulation. I'm just going to do sculpt because it's effectively the same as the others. He has the grapple hook on his left arm there. Non-functional and very tiny, but it's there, worth pointing out. The paint is pretty alright. He's very dark in color, very muddy looking, and just pretty alright. The knees are a very soft, rubbery sort of material on this one specifically for some reason. I don't like that. I do not like that. The knees are not good on this one, because this one just doesn't want to suck it all the way up for some reason. But this one has no problem doing it. His right leg has no problem doing it. Fuck. But the left leg does not want to sock it up all the way. It's very slight. I don't really know if you can see the gap between the thigh sculpt and the knee. Yeah, you can there. And his joints are pretty loosey-goosey. So, you know, pretty old, pretty floppy figures for the most part. I'm surprised this is even standing whatsoever. But horrible, if they were new, they would be much better, but these are like 3, maybe 4-year-old figures, and they've been kind of just sitting in a box for that entire time. not really being used, but they're still messed up for some reason. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But overall, I think they're okay. I am going to go over included accessories now a bit more in depth. So that really just includes the Commando AR, Spartan laser, and the Magnum pistol, because I already went over the plasma pistol. But the Magnum is very itty bitty. It came with Cat, I think. And it's just a solid piece of soft plastic. Has a peg hole for the holster gimmick. Decent sculpting on it. Not anything special or to write home about. The barrel is sculpted in there with the top cover on the slide. Under barrel laser, I guess. And it's very thin. And it looks okay. It's literally just gray with black paint for the grip and finger cover. I don't know what that part would be called on a gun. The Spartan laser is big and chunky as shit. It does also have the peg system, that little hole there, and it looks all right. Like it's bowed downwards a little bit. Like, I don't know if you can see it, but the hump here in the middle is a little bit higher than the rest of it because it's bowed down. Don't know why that is. Could not tell you. But it looks alright for what it is. Just 3-4 colors of paint on this. Green, gray, silver, red, white. For the UNSC logo at the top of the barrel shroud. Barrel shroud. English is hard. And it looks pretty alright besides being bowed down. And then the Commando AR, you can see Chief holding one, so I do have a second one here. And it looks pretty okay, honestly. I actually really do like having this as a prop specifically, because it's just a generic enough looking gun to work for different figures. And so is the Magnum, arguably. But, you know, this is mostly unpainted, save for the white here in the middle of the barrel, and the gray bits. And otherwise it's unpainted, I think. I can't really tell. But, you know, it looks fine. These figures are just fine. Everything they include is just tolerable at best. They are not amazing. And also, I don't really know if they're easy to get anymore. But these are just the few I got, so, you know. I give all of these maybe a 5 out of 10 at best for what they are. Accessory inclusion was okay for what I have left. Articulation, sculpt, and paint is all fine. But overall, they're nothing phenomenal. But, you know, I would still pick them up if you want a decently cheap Halo figure. You know, they're fine for what they are. I guess I'm going to close this video out, y'all. Peace. Hope y'all have a good one.